2 weeks after leaving him in the middle of the night, Cecilia Cass receives news that her abusive, controlling ex-husband Adrian Griffin has taken his own life. Cecilia finds out that she's inherited $5 million as well as the mansion the two lived in, all upon the conditions that she not be found mentally unstable or a threat to others. However, not too long after receiving the inheritance, Cecilia begins to notice some odd things occurring. Her breakfast catching on fire, her architecture portfolio work disappearing on a job interview, and her covers falling off the bed in the middle of the night, and the feeling that she might not totally be alone. Is Cecilia going crazy? Is Adrian truly dead, or has he found some way to become an invisible man? This is The Invisible Man. Okay, I guess there's not too much of a big spoiler here. Yeah, he does find a way. He has found a way to turn himself invisible. I mean, they show it in the trailer. Okay, they show it twice in the trailer. So yeah, I'll just state that right now. Like I said, like you get the kind of backstory of it. Unfortunately, they don't really show much. I don't know if that's necessarily good or bad thing. It's not like I want to see an abusive marriage, but when you say it's abusive, like you maybe want to have a little bit of there's a little, like when she's escaping him, because what she does is she drugs him with a sedative, diazepam, and she tries to leave the house. She disables the security system in the house. She takes a security collar off of the dog, inadvertently starting a car alarm in the process. And as she's just getting picked up by her sister, Cecilia is getting picked up by her sister. That's when he shows up and tries to stop her. And so you get a little bit of it, but and later she does sort of explain that he was very controlling. He isolated her. He was manipulative. He told her what to wear, how to act, how to dress, how to laugh. And if she didn't, he would get physical. And that Adrian wanted a baby, and she knew that if she had kids with him that, she could never truly leave. So she had to try to get out when she could. And yes, that last bit does pay off later. They do plant seeds that do bear fruit later on. Like I said, her sister Emily picks her up, but doesn't take her to her house. Instead, she takes it to at first I thought this was like a boyfriend or a brother-in-law, but it's just like a police officer friend who's a single father. And so she winds up staying with him because Adrian wouldn't know who Adrian wouldn't know who this guy is. And you definitely see a lot of the PTSD that Cecilia is suffering from because of the abuse. That she's afraid to run out to the mailbox and just to even get the mail in. And exactly. And so you see her struggling with that. But then after she hears the news of Adrian's death, and the inheritance goes through, she starts kind of opening up a little bit more. Everything starts to go. And of course, that's when this invisible man starts popping up. And you start getting through all this other stuff. Like, the one thing they don't mention in the trailers is the lawyer who informs Cecilia about everything and the inheritance is, in fact, also Adrian's brother. And so he even says, like, Adrian, you weren't the only one he was ever abusive to. He was just as abusive to me. That's his thing. He was the ultimate power player. He just wanted to control everything and everyone who was near him. And again, that does kind of pay off a little bit in the movie. I won't get too heavy into spoilers, but there are probably going to, like I said, yes, he does manage to turn himself invisible. Basically, he is a tech mogul who, in the field of optics, which I'm not entirely sure, Adrian is, like I said, the field of optics, which I'm not entirely sure what that means. Like, do they mean like surveillance? Because basically what his suit is, I mean, that's what it is. It's a suit. It's not a chemical formula. It's a suit that's made up of a bunch of little cameras that, reflect the light back, and so it looks, basically that's how he's invisible. And, that's how it all works, basically. And when she all these things start happening. Like, he sneaks in. He basically sneaks into James's, that's the police officer friend's house, and he takes pictures of Cecilia while she's sleeping. The big scene in the shower does not actually happen, at least not in the way you see in the trailers. Like, you see her in the shower, and you originally saw like the hands appearing on the door and everything. That does not happen. Instead, some other things happen. But she starts to kind of piece together that something's going on, and it's making everyone question her sanity. He makes James think that she basically tricks the family who's keeping her, think that she beat the daughter, which she didn't. And so, yeah, Cecilia, again, I'm trying to remember all these characters' names, sorry. She basically winds up losing her sister Emily because she received a nasty email. Basically, Adrian hacked her email account and sent a nasty email. Like, even before she hears of Adrian's death, like, she's taking precautions, like make sure her webcam doesn't get hacked, make sure she can't be tracked through her laptop or anything like that. So you get a lot of that paranoia. You get a lot of she's obviously got some PTSD going, and so you could also believe that it might be, even though again, there are several instances that pretty much indicate, someone is, he turned himself invisible. But if you were to look at this from just from a bystander's perspective and not, seeing all this other stuff, you would probably think that yes, she was losing her mental capacity. And again, you see how monstrous and manipulative he is, and it's really well done. So like I said earlier, the pregnancy, the fact that he wanted to have kids does pay off in that she had been using birth control, and he found out about it, and he substituted the birth control, and it's sort of it's really telegraphed early on. Like, she says he wanted to have kids, and she didn't because she knew she couldn't leave him. And then while she's at this job interview that she bombs because it's an architecture job and her portfolio is stolen, and at that point she faints, and they do a blood test, and she gets a call and says, yeah, you have diazepam in your system. Also, there's this other thing, and then she hangs up before anything else can happen. Like, oh, geez, is she going to turn out to be pregnant? Yeah. So, yeah, it turns out she is pregnant, and all of this is happening as everything is just getting worse and worse and worse, and she winds up getting arrested for something and kind of put into also a psychiatric ward. And he sort of torments her there, and then there's a little bit more to it than that. I won't get too far into it. I will say this, a little bit on the negative side. I'm not going to call these entirely plot holes, but again, I don't think we got I guess as the story is told, we get more and more evidence of the abusive nature of of Adrian and Cecilia's relationship. So it does feel like a little weird that, again, I do kind of wish maybe we'd gotten a little bit more backstory before we jumped into the abandonment, but again, I guess as the story was told, we kind of got the degree of how intense that was, so maybe that's a minor quibble on my part. Also, the ending really drags out. It's like there's about 2 or 3 false finishes in this that kind of, start to, there's a point where you kind of get this, just kind of end this already, like something else has got to happen here. And like I say, it's not bad. That's a really kind of minor quibble on this. I mean, really, this is just the movie sleeping with the enemy, but with an invisible man. So that's really all you need to know on this. I am going to be giving The Invisible Man an A. Like I said, it does a really good job of telling the story. It does a great job of building tension and just making you feel like everything's kind of off kilter, and you definitely get a really intense portrayal of an abusive relationship and how manipulative and controlling those people can be at times. Okay, trailer time, and well, we didn't really get much in the way of new ones here. We did get a couple of new ones, and then a lot of ones we've seen before. A couple we haven't seen in a while, though, so at least we got that going for it there. First off, we had Jungle Cruise. I hadn't had that one in a while. Free Guy, that's the Ryan Reynolds movie where he finds out he's an NPC in a video game. Spiral from the Book of Saw again. No Time to Die again. Bloodshot again. The Lovebirds again. Tenet again. And then we got our two new trailers. We got Candyman for the Candyman remake, reboot, I guess, next in the franchise. And then we got The Hunt. I don't think we had that one before, at least I can't remember. Obviously, that's the movie that was going to come out last year. It's about liberals who secretly round up and hunt down conservatives in sort of a deadliest game type maneuver, and because there was a lot of complaining about it from conservatives, that, yeah, it got pulled from theaters, and now it's getting a re-release. And the movie didn't seem that interesting to me anyway. If you don't recall, in the mid-90s, there was a similar movie called The Last Supper with Ron Perlman, actually. And it had kind of a similar premise where a bunch of college liberals lure these conservative commentators to a dinner party under the guise that they're young Republicans, and they wind up poisoning them and then chopping them up and burying them in the backyard. So it looked like kind of the same premise as that. Anyway, next movie is going to be Pixar's Onward. After that will be Bloodshot. I'll put the March and April itinerary on my blog. And after that, there might actually be a bonus review video coming out soon too, in the next couple of days. And then after that, the next video will be Pixar's Onward, and then the random trade review on Arkham Asylum: Living Hell. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember, you can help support my channel at patreon.com/sleepytimeforcat productions, where you can help request a movie, even if it's something like, say, Sonic the Hedgehog or the next Purge film. I'll review it.